Welcome to Chapters, everyone. Thank you all for joining in on this discussion of picking up the pieces to 100 Broken Promises. I'm Yushima Cherry Burks, your host and the author of said book. And every Sunday for the next 9 weeks, we will be discussing one chapter of my book. I hope you had a chance to see our last panel discussion. It was everything. So make sure you tune in to channel, child. I ain't got no channel yet. But make sure you tune in to chapter 1 that was recorded last week. Okay, panel. Introduce yourselves and tell us what you do.
I'm Shunketta. I am an AR specialist for a company that's called Genpack. They're out of Florida. So I'm accounts receivable.
All right. Nice. Thank you for being here, Sean. Thank you. Okay, Chanelle.
Hi, I'm Chanelle Wesley, and I'm with CC's Inc. I'm an author, and I am so excited to be here again with these two lovely ladies and about this journey as we looked at this amazing book that so impacted my life.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Sean, you were in the book.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that chapter 3. Because that's your chapter.
I just want to piggyback off of Chanelle. I want to thank you for asking me to be a part of this because I don't know if you remember the phone call that you and I had, and I told you that I was really proud of you for starting the process of healing. And but by you doing that and it's allowing me to heal the pieces of me that's broken. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And yes, I do remember that call. And thank you so much. I'm always so happy to hear from you because we don't get to talk, or we weren't able to talk that often then. So I'm glad that picking up the pieces to 100 Broken Promises have brought healing or started the healing process for so many. And I'm glad that it touched you personally as well. And you too, Chanelle. So thank you all for the accolades. Without further ado, let's get started. Today we are discussing chapter 2 in the book. The titles in chapter 2 are I Chose You, Parental Rejection, and Parenting in Fear. This chapter discusses my decision to become a teenage mom and the predicaments that we ended up in due to that decision. And I say that it was my decision because I knew how to prevent teenage pregnancies, even though my little boyfriend, Bo, at the time, told me he couldn't have kids because he was kicked in the nuts. Ain't that what they always say? I was 17, he was 18. I ain't know no better. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, that's how that happened. But in this chapter, I mentioned how I feel that I was selfish for bringing a child into this world before I was mature enough to fully grasp the effects of having her without being in a stable and steady relationship or without being in a stable place to be able to fulfill all of her needs financially that I knew that she wanted. I mean, we made do. I did the best I could. I bought her shoes from Stride Right. I did the best I could, but I feel like we struggled more because I was so young. I was only 17. I was working. And because of that decision, things happened that wouldn't have happened had I been stable like I am now, or like I was when my son was born. So, saying that, my question to you is, do you think it's selfish to have children without creating the best possible circumstances for them before they are born, either financially or without being in a good emotional place, or without having a partner that you feel that you will be with forever? It's a lot of different variables there, but do you think that can be a thought process, or do you think that children are here because they're supposed to be here and no matter what, it's a blessing? What do you think?
I would say this. I strongly believe that children need to grow up in a two-parent household. if that can't happen, I believe strongly that the mother and the father should be in the child's life, that they should be able to co-parent together, because a child needs a parent and a father, be it a stepfather, a biological father. But I just feel that they need both of the parents. Um, you know, this question gets asked a lot because some people feel that if they're with a girl, she get pregnant, he tell her that he's not ready to have a kid, or that he doesn't want the kid, that and she has the kid, that she's being selfish. But we
Mm-hmm.
can look at it that he is being selfish as well. Like, you laid down with me, you didn't use
Mm-hmm.
any protection,
Protection.
so you
Mm-hmm.
being selfish as well. Or you trying to escape your responsibility, do the matrix on your responsibility, when you knew what could happen.
Exactly.
So I don't think either one could be selfish, but because I believe, nothing happens by coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Everything happens for a reason. We may not know what the reason is when we're going through it, but everything happens for a reason. So you, some people could look at it, being selfish, but again, it's selfish on the mother and the father. Um, and and then who said it best? I want to say it was Tupac. He said, when you give that woman your sperm, it's hers. She can do whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is that she want to do with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if you don't want to give her a gift, don't give it to her. Point blank,
Hey.
period. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because it's a gift.
Hey.
You
There
know,
you go.
you had something on it,
Then.
you couldn't give it to her.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Is she calling Tupac? Come on now. Come on, versatile. Look at the accounts receivable. Come on now. Yes. We are well versed, honey. I love us. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Okay, Chanelle.
Okay, well, I had my first child when I was 22, and I had my last child when I was 38. I don't think I felt ready at any stage. I think each time I had a baby, I was surprised, like, what? You mean me? It's happening right now? You know? And each time I felt like God equipped me with what I needed for that particular child, for that particular pregnancy. Each thing was different. Um, I do understand what you're saying as far as being in a place of life where your responsibilities and your priorities and things that you're able to do as far as economics and your emotional state. And I definitely would have to agree with Sean about two-parent homes, because my mother and father, they were together until my father died. So I did have a two-parent home for the first 13 years of my life. And then I became involved with a single parent household because my father died and he was no longer there, um, because he just could not be. And um, as a woman, I've been both a mother in a two parent home. I've been a single mother. I've remarried, and life is just a bunch of chaos. Moments that you can't plan for or anticipate. What I can say to you is my children are my everything. They gave me purpose. They helped me become more grounded.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown and stretched in ways that I would have never been able to do if I had not had my children.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you grow with your children. Sometimes your children create focus and structure in your life. Sometimes your children are going to test you in ways that no other human being will test you.
Ciao.
Sometimes they're going to give you moments where you're just so full of pride and joy as you look at just say, oh, this came from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm although I can't say I was always ready, I was willing, and God blessed, I believe, my inadequacies, and through it all, my children know that they are loved. So I would say yes and no to your question, and that's my reason why.
Amen. All right. I agree. I do feel like I was equipped. I became equipped, or God equipped me, even at 17, to give AJ all the pieces that I didn't have on my own to provide to her. Um, but I think once I had my child in my marriage, and I was just able to enjoy parenthood so much more, or so much differently. I enjoyed parenthood with AJ, but it was just so many things were a struggle. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have my own home for her. We had our place, but we didn't have our own home because so many different things kept occurring. And some of those things were discussed in chapter 1. So thank you, ladies, for that. Moving on. In this chapter, I also introduced Bo, who is my daughter's father. I discussed how I wanted AJ to know his side of the family because of my lack of family interaction and the rejection that I felt from both her father and his family. Just impacted me on such a level that I felt bad for her. And I think that's another reason why I said I feel like it was selfish for me to do that to her, because she didn't have that father figure in her life, and so many things occurred because of that. So with that said, if you have an absent father in your child's life, would you pursue a relationship with him for your child, or would you just try to raise your child on your own?
Well, as you know, me and my ex-husband are not together, but he is a great father.
Mhm.
I cannot take that away from him at all. Like right now, she is with him. He flew in to get her October 31st. I don't have to go and get her until March.
Mhm.
So he is also he's always been an awesome father when it comes to her. Um, so um, and it's of course, there's some things that I felt like should have been made, that he should have made more of an effort to do, because she did grow up in the house with him for the first 5 years of her life. And then I think back on it too and say, was I selfish for leaving? Even though it was fidelity in the marriage, it just wasn't one-sided. So was it that horrible that I couldn't stay? I remember calling my mom, and she was like, your life is not your own anymore. Your life is to create a stable home for your child. And I was like, well, if I ain't happy, ain't nobody gonna be happy with me, you know. So she was like, it's not about you. So then I think about it, I mean, it wasn't like, he was beating on me. And like I said, in fidelity just wasn't on one side, it was on both sides. So, I have to look at my faults as well. I can't, I just can't, say him, it was me too. So, I mean, I think I did not think it through. I saw my friends being a single mother, how I can do this. Oh no, I don't want to do this. you know,
Girl.
Once I started doing this, it's tough. If you have any sick time, the kid gets sick, you have to take off for work, and
Mhm.
and then if you don't have a support system, but luckily, knock on wood, I had a support system. My stepfather, my mom, my brother, my little brother, because he's 5 years older than her. So when he was old enough, he was able to look after her. But yeah, it's so to answer your other question, um, if 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 she did not have a relationship, if Shaquille was not the father that he was, I would want them, I would try to nurture that relationship, knowing the type of relationship that I didn't have with my father. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to pay him. I'm not going to beg him, because she is just not mine. She's ours. So if you want to be there, you can. I'm not closing that door. I'm not it's open. It's open, and I'm going to help you in every way that I can to nurture that relationships. And I think that that's what women need to do. I have a brother in a situation that he was in the military, and the mother of his children was too, but she got out and she moved away, and the kids does not have a good relationship. So if he calls and he wants to talk to them, and she's not in the mood to talk to you right now. No. Trust me. My daughter be like, I don't want to talk to him. I'll call him tomorrow. I put him on speakerphone. I say, here she is right here. And he'd be like, hey, baby. And she'd be like, what you doing, Daddy? You know what I'm saying? So it just helps for us to, nurture
that relationship.
Yes. Regardless of what we had going on, you still want your child to know their father. Like, I mean, I know the nieces, but we don't have a good relationship. I've only seen them twice. And one is 20 and the other one is 13. She may be turning 14. And I've only seen them twice.
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law has tried to get the kids, to surprise him and things like that. So I mean, we can be a hindrance and we can be a helper in the nurturing or the stumped growth of that relationship.
I believe that. I agree with that 100%. Thank you, Chanelle.
Well, first of all, I appreciate both of you guys' transparency and just willing to be open. And for me, I think I would do both. As I just said before, married twice. I have 3 kids with my first husband, and then 3 children with the second. And both were different as fathers. I want to say my first husband, we, married really early on in the relationship. Amazing father, amazing supporter, just a person who's just there. And I think he was there because he understood what not having a father in the home was like, because his father was not there. And so he was just an amazing support system, not only to the children that we had together, but even the children that I had in my second marriage as well. And my second husband, it takes a lot of work to blend families. It just really does. Even when you're being asked to be a father to children who you necessarily did not father. And in some spaces and things, he was amazing. Other things he needed some growth in. It's different being young, single mother. When I got divorced, I think I might have been 28, 29, somewhere up in that neighborhood, maybe right before I hit 30. And my current husband, we're separated right now, but that's a blessing. I'll talk to you about that later. But becoming a single parent again this time around was much harder. It was, starting all over again. The finances that person brings to the household are removed, the person's support And I don't think initially he was looking at it from the standpoint of how the kids felt. Because sometimes when you break up, sometimes people break up with the kids too.
Yes.
And I really needed him to be more invested and engaged in what was going on with our children, because they were broken in so many places. And we just now recently have become, where we can actually co-parent more effectively. Initially, it was like, don't say nothing to me. I ain't saying nothing to you. I won't cut off your opportunity to be a father to your children, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to engage with him for the sake of my children, because I understand that they come from you. They need to see the fact that you should be able to be a support in their life, regardless of what the circumstance or situation is between you and I. And like I said, it's more healthy for the children. I don't have an irritation. My kids like, oh, when I be saying my dad's name, like I could see like the little whiny voice. And I had to change that, because I don't want my children to internalize that that's how I feel about them. So it's good to be at a space now where I can genuinely and truthfully wish him well, and that we can co-parent, because fathers are needed.
Yes.
You need both parents in the home. And I hate to see, I'm just two more seconds, just as Black women, sometimes we can become that bitter mom. The relationship didn't go the way you wanted it to, and we shut the guy out. We don't have the right to do that. We're robbing our children from that. And some of our Black fathers, when the situation didn't work out, the relationship, that doesn't mean it gives you the license to now leave your children and just go off and do something different. So we both have to take ownership, both men and women, and commit to being better parents.
Thank you, Chanelle, for that. And I agree with you. I want to give a different perspective on that, though, because as a therapist, and also as a woman who has gone through the process of abandonment, right? Who's gone through the trauma of abandonment, and seeing how it affected Mikey when his dad didn't come home and he was 2 years old. And then his dad wanting to show up whenever he wanted to without consistency. I felt that it was my job to set healthy boundaries and to protect Mikey from his constant promises and lack of follow through. So I wanted him to be consistently there, even if it was once a month, if it was once every 6 months, whatever it is that you're going to do, just do it consistently, but don't pop up, make promises, and then leave. And I'm left to pick up the pieces all again, right? So for that aspect, I do feel that it's important for us to set healthy boundaries and for us to be mature enough to have those conversations, right? When are you going to come? How often are you really going to commit to this? Can I meet your partner to make sure that, we all just kind of get along, right? These are just different basic common courtesies that as adults we should be able to do, but sometimes we're not there. We're not self-actualized enough to have those relationships with people after we break up. And also I want to speak on the healing woman. When you're hurt like that, when you're broken and you're hurt, and the person that hurts you and that rips your life up and causes all this chaos, right, from whatever it is that caused this breakup, if it's not on you, I think it's unreasonable for the woman to be expected to just suck it up and not have any time to heal from that pain or from that breakup. You know what I mean? Because it's still like ripping off, the scabs or the Band-Aids when you're just like, okay, I'm gonna leave you in this turmoil. You're gonna have to figure out how to pay your rent, buy groceries, get to work, change your hours at work because I'm not gonna be here to keep them. But I'm gonna come tomorrow and see them. And it's like, let me get my healing process together first. Let me figure some stuff out first, because you had time to plan your exit, right? Because men plan. Before they leave somebody, trust and believe they have already set up a whole system outside your household for them to be able to get their stuff together. So they've already, in their mind, they've already left you. When you find out about the situation, it's just a smack in the face and you're kicked in the stomach and you're just trying to keep your head above water. So it would be, in a wonderful world, it would be great for those relationships to break up maturely, for you guys to have a conversation first and then you're able to split up. But when it's something from infidelity, or if it's something that's just very painful, or abuse or something like that, I think the woman should be allowed that time and space to heal before being asked to do something for him or to do something with him. Now, should he be able to see his children? Absolutely. But let's not discount or minimize the pain and the hurt that the woman may have at that time, because I think we're expected to be, oh, hey, yeah, their bag is packed and everything is great, and you just shattered my world. And that's not realistic. And I think that's where we put up our walls, and that's when we start masking, because we're not allowed to ever sit in our pain as Black women. We're not allowed to be able to have those feelings of, well, you betrayed me, and now I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. Let me feel this pain for a minute. So while I do feel like they should have access to their children, I do also feel like there is a responsibility that the person who left has to try to make the transition as comfortable as possible for both the parent and their children. You know what I mean? Because I think that it's not fair to the parent that's left behind to handle everything, to also be pressured with acting like they're happy when in fact they're broken. So I wish there were ways that we could come together as a community and just, if you want to separate from somebody, just do it with respect and decency. But thank you both, yes. At the end of every story, I give a Bible verse and a promise to myself. My favorite Bible verse is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." That's Jeremiah 29:11. I think sometimes I forget that God loves me because of all the different things that I've experienced. And when I read that Bible verse, and when I internalize it and I accept and receive the promise that comes along with it, it helps to shift my perspective, and it helps me to move forward in my life. And it just makes things easier for me. I'm able to cope a little bit better. And also the promises that I have in my book are promises that I make to myself. And one promise that I made to myself that was very important for me is to love myself the way that I want other people to love me, and to treat myself the way that I've always wanted other people to treat me. So if I want to go to a movie and I want somebody to dote on me and cater to me and I'm gonna do that for myself first, right? If I want a massage and my husband tired, I'm gonna go get me a massage at, Hand and Stone right there in Huntsville, right? These different things that I started doing for myself, they empowered me, and they really helped me to heal those broken pieces of myself that were neglected for so long, not just from other people, but the pieces of me that I neglected in myself. And it just really helped me to grow and feel loved and wanted and worthy. So with that said, what is your favorite Bible verse or quote that gets you through the day when you need it? And also, what's a promise that you would like to make to yourself? You on mute, Sean, or something. I can't hear you. You're not on mute, but I can't hear you. Is your earphones plugged? Girl, I can't hear you. Can you hear her? Chanelle, can you hear her? Plug it in and plug it out. Okay, I hear something.
Okay, what about now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, girl. This anyway, my favorite quote is, "Winter always turns into spring." And what that means is winter always turns into spring. Like what you're what you are going through is not permanent. It's temporary. There's always spring.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
um I would what was your other question? I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out this.
And what's a promise that you would like to make to yourself?
A promise I would like to make to myself is to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
To go for it. To go
Mm-hmm.
for whatever it is that I want to do, to go for it. Um, don't self-doubt yourself, and I think I know, not I think I know, I still do that. Well, if I do that, then that's gonna happen. Well, but if you, so I'm playing it all over in my head. Like I've came up with the resolution
Mm-hmm.
or the finished product before I even start,
Yes.
knowing that that's not even that may not even be the finished product, but because I have created it in my head, then that has started. So then everything around me starts to give me that same energy.
Mhm.
Whereas if I keep a positive energy, then the other things that I want to do just opens up,
Yes.
So if I, like you just did, so if I'm like, well, yeah, then the people around me is going to they are going to feel the same way, like, well, why you, but
Mhm.
if I have this energy was like, well, I'm going to do this and this is how, and then they may know other people, or they may, have an idea to, help along with my idea to motivate that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would keep that as my promise. My 2021, it's not a resolution. It's
Right.
most definitely not a resolution. It's
Mhm.
a vow.
That's it.
It's a vow.
Mhm.
So yeah. But yeah, winter always turns into spring. That's my
Absolutely.
favorite quote.
I love that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you. My name means cherry blossom, which represents spring. So it's kind of like
There you go.
Yushima. So winter turns into
Yeah. You
right.
should.
Yes.
No,
I make everything that
no,
okay.
no,
Thank
no. Go Chanel.
you. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Shanae.
I love the quote. It was amazing. I do.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I just took something with that.
Mm.
I guess my favorite scripture is all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord, that are called according to his purpose.
Mm.
Um, in life, it's just so easy to think that somehow just the good things are designed to work out for you, to benefit you. But it's really in those difficult, rough times that you learn so much about yourself, your relationships with others, what your expectations are, your values, your moral compass. You truly find yourself. And it sometimes is good, especially when you're in a state of influx. You 1 minute you're good, is you're up, and the next minute you're down, you're bad. Sometimes you don't know which way is up. You just kind of just trudging through it, and that gives me reassurance that no matter what it is, my good, my bad, my ugly, my in between, whatever it is, he's going to work that out for my good. It
Mm.
might not feel good, but it's going to end up benefiting me in some aspect. And the thing for my promise, which I loved a lot of your promises, I highlighted some too,
Oh,
uh,
good.
Shima.
Mm.
But my promise to myself is to believe in me, just to believe. Um,
Yeah.
as a little girl, I had so many ideas of things that I wanted to be when I grow up. When I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And you
Mm.
have so many different things of what you believe you can accomplish in your lifetime. And it's not until you hear people tell you enough, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do all of that. You can't
Mm.
do that. Maybe you can do this one.
Yeah.
And it kind of stunts you as a person, and you don't grow and stretch yourself in the ways that you could have
Yes.
If somebody would have put that positive thing into you to say, yes, you can. All that you want to do, you can do all of that. And so now that I'm 44 years old, I'm like, yep, I'm going to be that little girl inside me is still here. And she's like, guess what? I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do this. And I'm like, yes, you can, girl. You
Yes.
got it. You go, whatever it is you want.
Mhm.
God has equipped you with those talents, with those, the resources are going to come, but your abilities are there. And so get up and get it. And so that's what I feel. I feel so much focus for 2021. So that's my promise to me, is believe in you.
I love it. Absolutely. The little girl in me has been getting everything she wants. So I fully understand Chanelle. And that little girl is happy right now. And I just pray that we continue to heal all of the little girls and boys inside of us that were neglected or that just didn't have enough, even though our parents did the very best that they could, right? There will always be those secret places and those secret things that we harbor and carry along into our adulthood that does stunt us. And so it's good to hear that we're healing those little girls and boys inside of us. Thank you so much. So we're about to wrap up, and I want you all to just give yourselves a hand. And again, I thank you all for participating in this discussion today, and thank you all for watching. Remember to check out the store, yearofyushima.net. There you will find the book collection. Today we discussed chapter 2, and that means my collection, my clothing collection for chapters 1 and 2 will be available in the store. I'm sure you'll find something there for everyone in your family, your household, in your circle, or even for a stranger that may look like they need a little pick-me-up, okay? Also remember to check out the products and the products and services from our panelists today. The links will be below. Before we end, Chanelle, I want you to talk about CC's. What's the name of your business? CC's
Inc.
What is that about?
Sure. Well, CC's Inc. are my collective writings. Just suffering abuse. A lot of times when you're in the moment, you're being abused. Sometimes you just kind of put yourself far, far away from what's actually happening at that moment. You do feel muted, as if you've lost your voice. And one of the ways that I've learned to heal and express myself is through writing. So CC's Inc. is just me. My imagination is taking me to healing ways to be able to express thoughts and things that I'm having, emotions, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And I'm really excited about that. So that's what CC's Inc. CC just stands for my name, Chanelle Coleman, and what I ink out, what I write.
Hey, I love it. Wow, I am so excited for your project. I'm excited for your healing. I can't wait to see it and to read it and to touch it and to support it. How can we find your writing? How can we find your book?
Well, we're in a process right now. I'm going with some amazing editors, and actually, they can just follow me on Facebook, CC's Inc., my page. They can see my stuff.
All right. Is that CICIIN?
CECI apostrophe S Inc., like INK, like I inked it out.
All right. And I'll have your link down below. Thank you again, Sean, and thank you again, Chanelle, for being here with us today. I want you all to have a great day, and until next time, remember to be bold, make a statement, and be empowered. Thank you. Bye.